a lot of people kind of figuring out like that we don't have to kind of conform into these boxes and ideas of what it means to be professional, and we're also seeing like the results that gets, the connection you have with your couples and the level of trust that they have, and the way that the friends and family kind of let down their guard when you become a guest and a friend instead of a photographer to kind of staunch out and ignore. So I definitely think that people we're making huge progress these days in terms of progress as if this is an inevitable social change that just has to happen at weddings.
Hello everybody and welcome to Show Love episode 9. My name is Ben. I will be your host, and joining me on my tiny little couch in my office is viral video superstar Jonathan Suckling. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, dude. It's been my entire life since I met you, so I'm glad it's finally come together. And
you're one of the few photographers I haven't actually worked with yet. So,
for sure.
Man. Basically, today I asked you to come on the show because I wanted to talk through all things like having fun, not being a wallflower, and like directing couples, and basically how to sort of step outside of the kind of introverted space that I tend to live in, especially as a videographer. I tend to be very hands-off, reserved, and from what I've seen online, you kind of seem to be the complete opposite of that.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? I'm a fly on the wall, man. Come on.
Yes, I mean, I'm stoked to just basically sit down and just chat about, how you bring the fun to weddings.
Yeah, man.
So, before we kind of really kick into it, do you want to maybe just tell everyone a little bit about how you got into weddings and how you all started?
Yeah, for sure, man. By the way, it's so funny, like in this format, I'm like, do I look at you? Do I look at myself? Yeah. But here we go.
You can look at me. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Right, let's just get real intimate on this couch.
Yeah.
Whoa. Where's the shot cut off? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit about me and how I got into weddings and all that kind of stuff. So pretty much in the last year of high school, I kind of had picked up a camera in that last year of high school and started photographing things, everything that moved, everything that didn't move, and quickly realized that photos of grass get less likes and less engagement than photos of people. And so that kind of steered my interest towards photographing people, because that seemed to get a lot more response from my friends and that kind of thing on Facebook. And then after that, I didn't really even consider photography as a career. This was in 7th form at Rangitoto College, and didn't even consider photographing weddings at all, and didn't even think of photography as a career. I was kind of imagining going and studying one of the humanities probably, and maybe becoming a teacher, a high school teacher or something like that. And then pretty much like when I was in 7th form, I somehow came across the work of James Day. Don't know if you know him, but so pretty much came across his work, and the second that I saw his work, I was like totally hooked. I was like, what the heck? I had never seen like modern wedding photography, I guess. And when I saw it, I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever, and that's all that I wanted to do after that point. Much to the I hope he's not watching this, but much to the disappointment of my 7th form photography teacher. Because he kind of thought, I don't know, maybe he had some of that stigma around weddings and like you can do more or whatever, but all I wanted to do was weddings. So following that, I kind of decided I wanted to go and photograph weddings, of course. But my parents were like, no, get a piece of paper, mate, you can't get a mortgage without a degree or something like that. I don't know. But I ended up going and studying commercial photography at South Seas Film and Television School. And that was kind of a really good year for me to kind of get a good sort of a taste of all the different avenues that I could pursue within photography. So like food photography, commercial photography, product, fashion, lifestyle, landscape, architecture, just pretty much all the things. And pretty much no winnings that year. But it kind of gave me a really good chance to expose myself to all the different routes I could take. But at the end of that, I was just still so set on doing wedding photography. So kind of coming out of that, I ended up James Day actually ended up inviting me over to Sydney to go shoot a couple weddings with him. That was actually at the start of 2013. So I shot a few winnings with him, a couple, or maybe one or two winnings with him there. Stayed with him for a week, and I was like just completely frothing. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's got a MacBook Pro. Oh, it's a tilt shift lens, and I was like just playing with all his gear, and it was just really, really, really cool. It kind of felt like I don't know, it's like a professional football player like taking me to his like club room, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, all the expensive gear. And then after that, I ended up connecting with Jake Thomas, who I don't know if you know him, but another legend and another Australian legend, which is why when I'm in the photography realm, I kind of adopt this like faux Australian accent. I don't know if it'll be coming through clearly on the video, but so anyway, and then I spent a whole season, that 13-14 season assisting with Jake, and shot a whole bunch of winnings with him. And for me, that was really important to kind of, I felt like I wanted, like, I'm a very like deep, heavy thinker, and so I felt like I needed to be able to call upon the experience I would have with someone like that who has been doing this for a long time, to give myself the confidence to make decisions on a winning day. I felt like if I just rocked in there not knowing anything, I would feel a little bit unsettled and unjustified. So to have all the time spent assisting with those two guys made me feel a lot more confident to make decisions and go, this isn't just like an 18-year-old kid's decision. This is like 20 years of combined experience and how they deal with that kind of situation. So it was definitely really important for me. And even doing the South Seas course, I think it was just like it was only 1 year, you know, like I was only 17 at the time. So it's kind of like 1 year is nothing in the scheme of things. And so I kind of figured like I might as well, even though I really wanted to just dive on it and get right into the winnings, to give myself another year. And I think it really did help me like mature as a person and kind of slow myself down a little bit to develop a bit more in other aspects. So yeah.
Nice, man. No, that's, I mean, like, I haven't actually worked with James Day before. I mean, I've seen his work obviously, but from working with Jake, he's obviously quite a bit more reserved than you. But do you think you picked up any of your style from the people you worked with, or is that definitely come just from you?
I think like style is like a really interesting one. You know, I feel like a lot of the time we talk about having, you know, finding your voice and developing your style. But I kind of quite early on just kind of released myself from that expectation because I just realized that it was not a thing. You just your style becomes what you shoot. Your style is how you see the world, how you do things, and it's not something that you have to find or figure out or achieve. It's just what your work reflects. And so I kind of relaxed myself from these expectations quite early on. I would say that like I'm a big fan of some backlit foreheads together action, which I definitely like adopted from the James Day inspo back in the day, and I think his work's always been really inspirational to me for sure. And Jake as well. Jake has like a really unique way of seeing the world, particularly with like wide lenses, which I have always tried to like, again, like been a big fan of and tried to get some of that in my work. But I think I've found he's got a bit more of a unique style that I've kind of struggled to nail in the way he does. He's got a really, I'd always be quite surprised when we get back from a wedding and like just the way he would see the same scene a bit differently, particularly with the 24. He's just like a master with those wide lenses.
He's really good with those wide compositions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. And so when you started sort of going out on weddings on your own, did you jump sort of straight in with the kind of energy you have now, or is that something you sort of developed like over the
it's good call. I think I did. I think I like, obviously I've always been a pretty energy filled person, and I think that it was pretty hard to contain that, especially as a young kid who understood less social nuances and that kind of thing. So I definitely have always had like quite a high energy approach, and I think like working with those guys, I think it really gave me a confidence to step out and do my own thing, because I realized there's just, obviously they shoot quite differently, and I could see that all the couples responded well to it, and it's almost like what you put out there and what your couples sign up for is what they're ready to receive. It's kind of like a movie, you know, like you don't go into a comedy wanting to cry, like and vice versa. So like when you set the expectations correctly by you know selling yourself and presenting yourself in a certain way, I think that people are, by the time it comes around to the wedding, they're pretty excited for what they're going to be getting. So
totally, they know what they've signed up for, and they're not expecting to get a photographer or or an experience that is different to what you were selling. For sure. And so I guess to go a little bit more specific now on the Suckling special. How did that happen?
What is that?
When did you wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to start flipping and rolling around?
Okay, so
someone's wedding?
Pretty much like I've always brought the antics. Like if you could scroll through my 50,000 photos on my camera roll, you'll see all sorts of shenanigans in there. But I pretty much saw the work of like a Vietnamese photographer. I don't know if you've seen the clip where it's a guy lying on the ground and he's just doing weird stuff with his legs.
Yeah.
He's like, do this, do this. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then it wasn't that like ridiculous what he was doing, but like the response online was like phenomenal. Like it had obviously gone viral. And so the next wedding, I threw my camera to my assistant and flatmate at the time, my friend Gareth. And I said, dude, just film this. Yeah. And I didn't even know what was about to happen. And then what happened was the next 49 seconds of madness that has since become like crazy viral. And it was just a one take one day and surrounded by families up at Wenderholm National Park, like just chilling out, having their Christmas, picnics. And I'm just roly-polying through the fields and that kind of thing. So it just kind of happened. And then and then it was really funny posting that video. I don't know if I sent it to James first or what I did, but I ended up posting it, and then I was like, right, I felt like I was sitting on some potential gold. I don't know. It kind of feels like a lottery ticket to me. So I was like, I filmed it, I put it up online, and I think I saw that James Day shared it like almost instantly. But either way, I just went outside and washed my car. And I was just washing my car for like wax on, wax off for 40 minutes. And then I just had my phone, inside. And I came back inside just like opening a Christmas present. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And I was already rolling around. And then I think like the next 12 hours, 24 hours, it kept on picking up. And then I honestly don't even know where and when it eventuated into like the 50, 60 million views it's got now. But like, I mean, I got a terrible memory looking back, so my girlfriend will attest to that. She is my calendar and my rearview mirror when it comes to the timeline of life. But and it's just crazy when I'm even recounting the story that like, I would see people, because I've always been like kind of fascinated by viral content and video content, and I would see people, who go viral and have this, oh, you've gone viral kind of label attached to them, and I'd be like, that's amazing, that must be so cool. But man, it's incredible how quickly you just go right back to your baseline. Like a week later, it's worn off, it's just normal, and it's only when you like revisit these memories and stuff that you're like, wow, that was pretty crazy. So
do you looking back now, can you think of like why it did strike such a chord and did go viral?
I think like the wedding, I think weddings in general are quite a specific sort of thing. They're quite a relatable thing that a lot of people have an experience with, and they also have probably quite a narrow sort of box of content that is available on weddings. When was the like wedding videos go viral because of that relatability. And what wedding videos go viral? A whole wedding party falling into the river off the bridge breaking, or some fight breaking up at the wedding, or someone dropping the rings into a pool. But there's very few videos, and it doesn't really take much, because we understand the parameters of a wedding. It's this day where people are getting married and everything's perfect, and then something goes wrong or something unexpected happens. And certainly there's almost no content about wedding photographers doing silly stuff on a wedding day, because who would do that? Like, that's so unprofessional. And so when I saw that guy doing it, I was like, this is absolutely like just as simple. It should be just as simple as doing something crazy and seeing what happens.
Just worked out, man. No, it
did.
Like, have you kept track of how many times people have tagged you in it?
Oh man, honestly, it's so funny. I feel like, I don't know who I feel more sorry for, myself or the other people who get tagged in it all the time, because everyone, it's like the first thing everyone says to me, like, oh, you're that guy. Like, do you know how many times my friends have tagged me? And I'm like, don't worry. Like, now that we're friends, you get to just go tag me next time and go, oh, actually, it's my friend Jonathan. And then I just catch like the full like bottom net of all the extra tag-ons. But I do appreciate it. And like, anytime I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go again. Like, I can't complain. It's a pretty brilliant thing to have happened. And but so many tags.
Do you feel like you've had any result in any actual bookings?
Definitely, I would say like a lot of people would initially think like, oh, like you must get so many bookings from that. But I think the first thing is that like the videos that have gone crazy viral with like 40, 50, 60 million views, all of those have been ripped and re-uploaded by someone else. So there's not much context or understanding of where I'm based and if I'd be available for them. And so like in terms of my natural reach of people who actually know it's me and that I'm an Auckland wedding photographer, then that's quite a small pool of people, maybe like 1.5 million impressions on Facebook, which isn't really people. But I definitely do. Like I would say probably like 3 or 4 weddings a year, or maybe less. It tends to be more of the international weddings, like Australia and stuff, where they've just gone, oh my goodness, like they just can't shake the idea of anyone but me being there at their wedding day and adding that element of fun to the day. So I've definitely had quite a few of those, but it's certainly not the majority of my bookings and that kind of thing.
And so the couples who don't, I guess, book you for that reason, in the sense that like they've seen the video and they know they want that experience, have you had couples who like have responded not great to it, and where it's just sort of for them it's sort of come out of the blue and it's like what is happening?
I'm just dive rolling through the first kiss and I'm like, oh, what are you guys talking about? This is what you booked, isn't it? I do. So I've got like a wedding day details form that I send my couples closer to the day, and on that form there's a spot where it's like, how keen are you for a performance of the Suckling special? Because I kind of want to meet the expectations both ways, you know, like if they were really wanting it and I end up being too lazy to do it, or it doesn't work out, I don't want to let them down. And vice versa. If they're just pretty chill people and they're like probably not keen for some of those antics, which the older I get, the more I think that a dive roll and break my neck mid-wedding is like probably not the best sustainable business practice. So I do have that question, and from that question I can kind of gauge the level of interest. But honestly, dive rolls are just not in the question these days. They like, it's too much to go wrong. And
has your ACC bill gone up?
Oh, dude, honestly, I wonder if I'm up the ACC for New Zealand photographers. Totally. What a crazy bunch. But pirouettes are where it's at right now. The only danger of the pirouettes is ripping up some nice green grass at a beautiful venue. So I try to keep a repair kit on hand, you know.
Yeah, man. Have you seen any copycats pop up like since it's happened?
Nah, none that come to mind. Nah, not really. I think it takes some proper commitment to commit to it, and I feel like I've seen a few people, like friends, tagging me like in the Insta stories, like I gave it a shot, but I haven't really seen any like full on stuff. But man, I need to try and up my game for the next video. I'm trying to think of, because like the premise is effectively like, what's the craziest thing a wedding photographer could do on a wedding day that would make people go, what the heck, look at this. So I've got, and now everyone's ideas.
Seen the Suckling special.
Exactly.
Like, what's going to top it?
I totally need to up it. So I've been working on some techniques and some I'm going to might be going overseas to get some international training, but that's under wraps right now.
Sweet. That's fine. Are you surprised that more photographers aren't taking a similar approach to appeal to that kind of sensibility of couple with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's like natural human instinct, I think, and even for me, like who supposedly I'm pioneering some of this kind of stuff, right? And there's not that many people doing this kind of thing, but even with myself, like the human nature is it's a bit scary to push things into the unknown, into the polarizing, into the realm of being a bit more divisive, you know? So because the thing is, like, I like to bring the antics and I like to be silly, but I also just like to have a good time and hang out with people and make people laugh. And it's not like I want to be dive rolling every second minute on the wedding day. So I think that like come back to the question, which was about how,
like, whether other, like, because the like your, I guess, personality on the day is like part of you and your brand, and not many, like, it seems it's obviously working for you, but I haven't seen any other photographers, I guess, jumping on the bandwagon.
True. Yeah. So I think, like, I mean, there probably are a few people, and I think certainly as the market gets more competitive and people understand branding and content around branding a lot better, I think people are beginning to do a better job of kind of communicating the experience they give on the day to their couples through video, through Instagram, through all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess there's not that many people who have gone full on that are on my radar, at least, that have gone full on into the raging. But even when I look at my website, I think I could do a lot more to kind of communicate what I bring to the table and that kind of thing. So
because like your Instagram stories, especially, like you get your personality and like how you are on the day through on those. Like, definitely. But like formalizing that into your website
takes a bit more thought.
It does it. And
I guess the other thing is, like, I mean, I'm kind of preaching to the choir or whatever you're supposed to say there, but like, I know I need to push. I think I need to push my brand further, and because I would rather have, like, 20 incredibly true, like, amazing fans who are just like, this guy is like my person, versus like 1,000 like, oh yeah, he fits within my world, you know. So I can definitely bring it to another level for sure, and that's what I've been trying to do with a bit of the Instagram content, because I feel like the lack of permanence, even though you can pin it to your timeline, it just feels a bit more casual and a bit less structured, and it feels a bit more authentic. So
there's less pressure around constructing that as hard. Obviously, it is still a construction. It's still branding and marketing and everything, but there is a bit less pressure around that for sure. With your energy and personality and everything being such a defining part of the brand now, do you feel pressure to keep it up, or does it kind of come naturally?
Yeah, so like I feel like I get older every day, which is probably what's going on.
It happens, man. It happens.
But yeah, like I think it's like, hey, there's actually quite a good topical societal reference right now, but I don't know if you know the song Dance Monkey by Tones and I don't know if you've heard it. It's like an Australian artist, and pretty much she was busking in Byron Bay, and the idea behind the song is if you replace the word sing, the word dance with sing, sing monkey, sing for me, pretty much she's just talking about how like she kind of felt a little bit like a monkey that was just being told sing for me when you're busking, as if she's like their little party trick or something. So it's definitely an interesting one to ride the balance for me, where I am promoting what I do and the fun I bring, but when people are kind of like, you know, wanting it to a greater degree than I want it, that's where I feel a little bit like I'm just a circus trick that's been having the button pressed a few too many times. So, but I think it all, to be honest, I've got some pretty high energy levels and that can carry through a wedding day pretty strongly. So I think like my natural energy levels are pretty capable of coping with the most engaging of people, and also like my nightmare of like having to do it like crazy amounts through the day is also just not sustainable in the context of a wedding either, and it's just not what happens naturally. So even couples who are like, oh man, we can't wait for you to go crazy, I go crazy on the dance floor, and I pull some moves at the family photos and that kind of stuff, but and they're happy with that, you know, like one or two great performances, like knee sliding through my assistant's leg on the dance floor or something like that, like they're pretty stoked with that. So it always works out naturally, and what fits with the day and stuff. So
nice, man. And so I mean, you kind of just mentioned a few things there, but besides the kind of the Suckling special, you know, that we all kind of know, is there anything else that you are doing kind of maybe a bit more subtly just to still keep the energy and the presence and the personality coming through on the day?
Yeah, so like I mean, from the word go, like in the mornings, I'm there, I'm bringing the banter, I'm having a laugh, and definitely engaging with all the people there, and for me, like my biggest passion in life and the biggest thing that I get joy from is absolutely like bringing other people joy, making other people laugh, and I feel like that's always been a thing that has been in me, and rewinding back to when I was like 4 years old, dancing around in my undies at Christmas and doing like a dance performance or something, that kind of stuff. I think it's always been in my DNA and the way I've kind of received like fulfillment and joy through the world, and so definitely I kind of just, that's kind of imbued in who I am. I definitely am bringing that to a wedding throughout all parts of the day, and just wanting to have a good time, wanting other people to laugh and relax. But in terms of specifics and what I do, like obviously I'll be bringing quite a lot of hip gyration, a lot of groin movement on the wedding day is particularly notable for all my couples. They'll have seen the rotating hips a few times, a few pirouettes, just silly antics. Like I kind of like view it as like an environment for improv. It's like the perfect improv environment. It's like, here are the constraints, here are the expectations, like how can you do things differently, or how can you surprise people and stuff. So just kind of just making it fun and keeping the banter going, and Are you always kind of reading the room to see what's appropriate and what's not? Yeah, definitely. Like there was this time that I remember I totally thought I was getting like the go ahead, and I ended up taking my pants off and standing on top of a reception table.
I was like, wait, what?
So I sometimes I just do that. Sometimes I just go for the full deadpan, like see how long I can keep it going in the most ridiculous situations. I think I might have done that to
Man,
your.
You fully had me there.
Yeah, I think I might have done that to your the wedding that I'm shooting of your family. What is that connection with Chloe and Matt?
Yeah, so Chloe's my sister-in-law, so it's Michaela's sister.
Okay, cool. So when I met those guys, I'm pretty sure I did one of those full-on. I think they might have asked me something like, "What, how do you work on the day? Like, what's your, approach to the wedding?" And I'm like, "Well, look, to be honest, I do have a bit of some confidence issues, but the way I kind of go about that is I kind of dress my confidence. I dress my confidence by the way I dress. So in the morning, you can probably expect me to be wearing tight lycra and probably a cape, because I kind of like to channel superheroes. And I ended up, and I was just watching their faces. Like, okay, I can't stop. I can't. I'm joking. But sometimes I just go too far with that brutal deadpan humor. But back to the point, which was what was the point? It was how do I. But keeping an eye on the room and
reading the room, like managing like people's expectations,
honestly,
so that you don't just show up in lycra and a cape.
Yeah. Okay. So, which has been requested at times, and I, when requested, I can comply because I do have quite a lot of lycra in the third drawer of my dresser, but buried below all the anyway. Cool. So,
whoa.
I hope my parents aren't watching. No, I'm joking. But pretty much, like, absolutely, like I was saying, I get so much feedback and fulfillment out of just nailing a social situation and kind of giving energy and laughter and joy to a room. So I am always like just ready for the first sign of non-approval. You know, I'm always ready to quickly accommodate and pivot and change the direction of things. And absolutely, like I don't want to just come in full blasting in the lycra and the cape, knee sliding through the front door before I've kind of read the room and got a feel for people, because different people require different attention and so totally. And I think that's like the biggest part of the wedding game for me is I just love like reading the different people and where they're coming from and why they might be responding in certain ways, and just trying to make the day the best day it can be for them, not because of what I want, but just to have the best day for them. So I feel like I'm super perceptive, and I feel like that's always what I'm working on, and I'll beat myself up if I ever feel like I overstepped it. I'll be like, damn it, I so shouldn't have done that, like, you know, and I'll be thinking about that all night kind of thing if I do something like that. But I've gotten pretty good, I think, over the years at kind of figuring it all out. And
Nice. And so do you have a story of where it went totally wrong?
Oh man, I do not. I don't.
There's got to be some time where it just didn't land.
Damn. Okay, this is bringing back a memory. This is bringing back some PTSD. Yeah. What was it? I just remember the only thing I can think of is kind of like I'm vaguely remembering, and it's kind of like my memory's blocking it out, you know? But it was something to do with a mother or a father of the couple in the morning, and just completely shutting me down when I said something. And I can't remember what it was. And I remember, I think after I left the place where we were getting ready, maybe it was the guy's house or something, I remember talking to my assistant like, whoa, what just happened there? And okay, whoever is out there and watching this right now, whatever assistant was at that wedding, I'm sure you'll remember it, because it was something. And and I, luckily, like, my assistant was like, oh, I totally thought that was uncalled for, or that just kind of came from nowhere. But and I think even the couple were just like, yeah, don't worry about my dad or my mum, she's you know. And so, but that I do distinctly remember there's some kind of memory there which obviously I can't access because I've blocked it out. But it was just like from nowhere, just the biggggest shutdown ever. And I was like, whoa, what did I say the wrong thing? What have I walked into? But I think it turned out to be a bit more of a them versus me. But
well, I mean, it bodes well that you've only had, like, you know, one or two that you can't even fully remember. But, you know, it.
I mean, but imagine the stuff that's deeply buried. Probably huge amounts.
Don't even really want to go that far. But,
cool, I think it's pretty good.
Well, enough about bad stories. I'd love to talk about some times where it did work and went great, and what are some of the sort of positive reactions and reactions and responses that couples and families and guests have had from you know, how you are on the day.
Oh, sneaking out of frame, grabbing the cheeky iPhone, wrapping around the mic, upside down, not actually too prepared, so I might have to scroll past all sorts of lewd imagery. Just kidding. Hang on.
No, you're not.
Hang on, let me just I mean, look at this stuff, eh? Oh, mate, honestly. Okay.
Jeepers.
Truthfully, where is the dude, this was like something else. So I was at this wedding, and this is I think last weekend. Well, not the. What are we at? What is it? Today's Monday. So not this weekend, but the weekend before. I was out at Coldy Bay Boomrock, and I was at this wedding, and I do not even know how it began, but somehow everyone was just eating dinner, enjoying their mains, and I was at the back of the room talking to the bar staff, and then all of a sudden the song comes on from the DJ, just kind of a chill vibing song, and I started to like groove a little bit to it, and all of a sudden like some of the guests in the tables near me were like, woo, and like started clapping, and I was like, and it was quite an encouraging, like there was quite a few of them who were kind of like, oh, like loving the move. So I was like, okay, screw it, and I just unclipped both my cameras. I hand the phone over to my assistant, and I'm like, guy, just film this and try to shoot this, like, and pretty much just brought their antics. And I'm gonna see if I can find that video for you. Please. Here it is. Oh my god! Wait, is this it? No, this is not it. This is not it. This is it.
Oh, here we go.
So I don't know. Do I show the camera, or are you just gonna put this?
I'll watch. I'll put it in later.
So the whole room started clapping, and I just start like dancing.
Oh my god, dude.
Like, what?
Whoa. Hey. Oh wow. Oh yeah.
Oh mate, the older I was like, what do I do with this? Oh.
That is so good, man.
But just like,
so
yeah, so that was, I have to say, that was a bit of an unexpected impromptu freestyle dance session in the middle of the reception. But yeah, definitely I have like, and honestly, one of my favorite responses I get to all the groin wobbling and pirouettes that I do is like, so it's happened quite a few times where like a parent or a grandparent will just start doing the same thing. So half the time during family photos, I'm a little bit constrained here with the mic, so I won't go into the full demo, but I'll be like doing things, I'll be like body rolling, and I'll be like, oh sorry guys, just watch out for my groin, hang on guys, just can't even contain it. Just look at the camera though, look at the camera. And then it's so funny, sometimes like in the family photo they'll start doing the same thing back, so I'm like, no, not you Carol, me, just me, this is my moment. And the same thing with like, so funny, I'll be doing weird stuff with like weird squats or angles I'm doing while shooting, and then like this like dad with the camera will come along next to me and be copying me, and it's so funny, it's so cool, because it's like, they would never have done that other way, and then you just see like this dad actually loosening up and having some fun, and kind of, that's what I'm all about, definitely, is just helping people break out of like the comfortable that they're used to living within, and kind of helping them have a bit more fun. And
that's
I'm
so
like
cool, man.
I'm like the
fairy?
Yeah, dude, just like grab on and hop on for the ride, and I'll carry them. I'll get you out into the ocean, and then you can surf from there. But yeah, that's kind of
wicked, man.
What I try to do.
I guess this is one of the sort of big points I wanted to really talk with you too, is that like the idea of fun at a wedding too, like do you think that both from the vendors but also just like the couple and guests and everything, do you think there needs to be more fun, like sort of as standard at weddings?
Yeah. I think like when you compare like the way we're doing things, like modern wedding photographers and filmmakers and stuff, compared to where things were maybe 15 years ago, I think it's like a real clear difference. And I think a lot of people are kind of figuring out like that we don't have to kind of conform into these boxes and ideas of what it means to be professional. And we're also seeing like the results that gets, you know, the connection you have with your couples and the level of trust that they have, and the way that, you know, the friends and family kind of let down their guard when you become a guest and a friend instead of a photographer to kind of staunch out and ignore. So I definitely think that people we're making huge progress these days in terms of, progress. As if this is an inevitable social change that just has to happen at weddings. But I think people just... exactly. I think it's just, we want to... We're just humans, you know, we're just humans out there wanting to have a good time, and at a wedding, like, and it would seem so wrong right now to go to a normal wedding and then to have a photographer from 15 or 20 years ago that was just so structured and has a shot list and you know, very professional, and would never even consider wearing anything other than black clothes to a wedding or something, you know. Like if they went to a wedding now, I feel like they'd almost stand out more than this new breed of photographer who's kind of pretty much a guest with a camera around their neck. So I definitely think there's been progress made, and I think it's a good time. It's a good direction we're going in, for sure.
Yeah, man. And so for anyone who's wanting to start to, I guess, go in that direction and bring a bit more personality to the day, what are some of the things that they can start to do to sort of test the waters with that?
So I'd say absolutely, like, oh man, can you bleep out me clearing my throat right now?
Absolutely.
Oh, mate. Woo! No, okay, cool. Just sinuses are just a little bit congested, but that's okay. No, you guys didn't even see it, so that's fine. But yeah, so pretty much in terms of like the way that I would encourage people to kind of take a chance to push their boundaries of what they consider comfortable at a wedding, I would just say, firstly, just like recognize that like nothing. I think traditionally what has probably constrained wedding photography into a certain set pattern of behavior is kind of the ideology and the box that we've put a wedding day in. You know, we've kind of considered it this very formal day, this very important day where everything has to be perfect and nothing can go wrong, and historically it's kind of got this weird set of conditions and terms and conditions on it. But the more we realize that all that really needs to happen is two people who are hopefully in love are able to get married, and their friends and family get to be there with them and help them celebrate that, then you kind of realize that, man, it's just a day of community of two families and communities coming together and celebrating like two people wanting to be a team in life and that kind of thing. So I think when you kind of start wrapping your head around how there really isn't, you know, that much that can go wrong. I mean, you obviously don't want to, like, I don't know, just pick up the cake and throw it on the ground, and you don't want to do like crazy things that would just obviously ruin someone's day, but you can realize that you've actually got a bit more playroom than you think. And the biggest thing as well, like, is that people, often we're kind of conforming a lot more to our idea of what the couple might be expecting rather than what they're actually open to. You know, we kind of put ourselves in this little pen and we're like, oh, we can't do that because they'll think this. But we don't know what they're thinking, and they're not getting married every week, so they don't really have much to compare it to. And I'd also just say, like, human nature is you just remember, like, how people make you feel and the good times and the bad times as well, but you forget a lot of the in-between. So there's a lot of opportunity to kind of just play with things, and I'd honestly say, like, just don't put pressure on yourself. Like, if you want to just focus on one thing because obviously there's a lot of things going on for us on a wedding, and so I think what a nice achievable way to kind of break it down and to make it a bit more accessible is to say, I'm going to do one thing differently today. So I'm gonna try and make family photos more fun than they usually are. And again, like, you know, you're photographing a different couple next week, so it's not like they'll be comparing it against your track record of how you photographed last week or that didn't go so well. Like, it's a clean slate every week. So I'll just say, just find one part of the day that you want to do differently. Like, I want to try and create more of a connection with the wedding party in the morning when they're getting ready than I usually do. I want to, like, try and learn all the names and create private like inside jokes with them by the time the ceremony rolls around. I want to try and hit up the middle of the dance floor once during the night instead of only photographing it. Just finding one little thing you can focus on, I think, is a really, really good thing. And I think another thing to help with that is absolutely having someone to champion you, to encourage you from the sidelines. So back in the day, a lot of my assistants have been, like, really close friends. I even trained up, like, my best friend from college who has zero experience with cameras. I ended up training him up to the point where he could come along and assist for me, and that was just super fun, having a mate there to do the day with. So someone who kind of gets your vibe and kind of sees what you're capable of, and they can see when you're shying away from the challenge, and they'll be like, dude, just get in there, man, come on, give me your camera, like, go throw down some moves or whatever. I think having someone there to encourage you can be super helpful. And lastly, just, like, honestly, it's kind of like, I think of it like confidence and this kind of stuff is kind of similar to, like, the happy feet penguin. I don't know if you know the one where it's, like, at the edge of the cliff and it's like, I don't know what to do. Oh, what's that? Is that an eagle? What? And then it just pushes itself off the edge. Like, that's absolutely what you've got to do. It's like when you walk through that door in the morning to photograph, they're getting ready. You just got to open the door and walk through before you're ready to you know, if you let it build up, if you let, like, oh, should I jump into the dance floor now? Oh, next song, it's just never going to work. As soon as you feel like a moment, you got to commit and just get in there, and you know, if you put yourself in there genuinely and you're trying to do a good thing, people will see the authenticity and they reward it. So
man, that's great. That's really good. I guess to sort of go a little bit specific to you know, videography, because we've kind of been talking quite generally, you know, for both,
for sure,
you know, stuff that both photo and video can kind of hopefully learn from, but for videographers out there, and, like, for me personally, I'm quite used to sort of staying in the background, especially, like, during creative portraits and stuff, and just working off what the photographer's doing and just letting them do their thing, and I'm, like, off the side getting, like, candid stuff, and when it's great, like, when the photographer's great, that's all I need. I don't need, like, anything else other than that. But I mean, I personally don't love, like, the outcome of my work being tied to the skill level of someone else. So it's like when the photographer's not getting what I need, or if it's more of a posy photographer where they're not getting the couple, like, moving a lot. What would be, I guess, some things for me to start experimenting with directing couples that aren't gonna sort of get in a photographer's way?
So I mean, I would just say that, like, in terms of the whole getting in each other's way, that kind of already, like, it begins to imply that you're kind of trying to share the couple's attention for a moment, you know? So I would absolutely just be, like, getting those conversations going with the photographer and saying, hey, I'm really keen to try something new. Like, is it, you know, do we have time in the schedule for me to kind of just have 5 or 10 minutes uninterrupted? Or I definitely think it's all about building that rapport. And obviously the difficult part is that it's probably a different photography every weekend, you know? So you've got to do it again and again. But I think, like, I mean, for me, like, you know, like, the common thing is absolutely the photographer takes the lead and the videographer might be filming from a different angle. So that's doable for you. So it's absolutely doable for us, you know? Like, if you guys take the lead for 5 minutes, we're stoked. We're like, cool, now I get a breather. I get a chance to kind of look around and see where do I want to go to next and that kind of thing. And I never feel like... personally, like, just sharing an insight from the photographer's perspective, I never feel, like, rushed or under pressure when I'm shooting and there's no videographer. But when there is a videographer, I almost feel like I need to keep because I'm using valuable time, I need to keep things going. And I feel like it kind of can almost make me feel a little bit more pressure to non-stop keep going and not having a break. Even if that videographer isn't even interested in stepping up and going, hey, can I jump in? Like, I just somehow feel that pressure. So absolutely, like, it'll be welcome. I always welcome when a videographer wants to have a go with the couple and spend some time doing their thing, because I think you do need a little bit of time to kind of like to kind of break into a new realm of like shooting. Like, you need some like 5 or 10 minutes at least to kind of it's kind of hard to keep pinching shots over a shoulder, or like once you can kind of have that bit more control, I think it would absolutely be so rewarding.
Because it's like, I feel like, especially when the going's good, when it's a photographer who's just getting the couple to like laugh and cuddle and like just put them in a patch of light and just like do their thing. I can get everything I need, but it's kind of like I've reached the limit of like my creative potential with just being on the sidelines now. So it's like, even when it's not about the photographer not being able to give me what I need, like it's for me too, it's about sort of like, okay, I've kind of done that now, and now I want to sort of experiment with like pushing my boundaries around like directing and stuff. Actually, so Chloe and Matt, who we met, I actually had tried my hand at photography and directing them. I did a little engagement shoot for them. Awesome. And I was like super nervous, like because I had never like run a photo shoot before.
So true, right?
Yeah.
You're just in the hot seat.
Yeah, and because I've obviously watched like dozens of photographers do it, and so I was like pinching all their tricks and like stuff.
So good.
And it went really well, but I was super nervous, like something I'd never done before.
It's so different, eh? I kind of like liken it to like, that sounds like the experience when I went from assisting and second shooting to shooting lead. And it's kind of like I kind of relate it to like learning to drive a car. You've been in passenger seats all your life, and when you're about to get your learner's license, you're kind of just watching your parents or whatever drive and taking notes. But the second you're in the driver's seat, you're like, whoa, there is so much else going on that I did not even realize. So it's that's awesome that you did that. And totally, I reckon like getting couples and even just doing some like engagement shoot, like video style engagement shoots, could be a real great opportunity if you like push that directing boundary. And
And in terms of your directing style, do you feel like that's sort of going to be changing or evolving anytime soon?
Like, I think I'll let it change and I'll let it evolve, like however it naturally does. I don't have like a particular plan on how things will go, but like I said earlier, like I am absolutely, like my biggest thing is just being attentive to the needs of the people and the energy. And so I do certainly bring my own energy, but I try to keep it sustainable and balanced and kind of ebb and flow. You can't just be full intensity like 24 hours on a day. So I just tend to like kind of do a 50% mix of like both understanding where the people are at and when they seem to be like, kind of done with the high energy or they're really keen to amp up and have a bit of a party, and then balance that against like what I think they could use or what I can bring to the table. So, but in terms of like directing, like I just like to keep it natural. Like, I want people to have a good time. I just tap into the fact that hopefully these two people are in love, and hopefully the people in their wedding party are able to have a good time and enjoy hanging out with these guys. So that's what I try and tap into, is just the natural relationships and energies that exist, and just try and help them have a good time. I don't want them to ever feel like they're feeling uncomfortable and like, what do I do with my hands? I've been standing in this pose for 5 minutes. So I got a bunch of games and things I play that kind of help that happen. And
nice. And so I guess, is there anything else like that's kind of on the horizon for you? Do you have any sort of like goals for 2020?
2020, what a year, eh?
No way.
Kanye 2020. Yang Gang 2020. American politics. That's a good question. Like this year for me, I kind of felt like it was my year to get my shit together, you know? Like I feel like I'm 24 this year, I'm turning 25 next year, and I kind of felt like for the past couple of years I'd kind of been coasting on a lot of momentum and just been enjoying the ride. And as I start to think more into the future in terms of what I want to achieve, like personally and professionally, I'm like, okay, time to get my stuff sorted. So this year I like finally completely minimalized my life and kind of got rid of all the hoarding I'd been doing over the years. And that was like a real big start for me, is kind of just clearing the slate and just feeling like, in terms of my possessions, my life is like under control. And beyond that, it's been like becoming better at building stronger referral networks and understanding my numbers on my business. And that's the kind of thing I've always had enough money, so I've always been like, it's fine. And I just don't even think about it. But now I want to have a bit more of a financial plan and goals, and instead of just pushing it into I don't want to look, I don't want to count winnings, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to get, because, and honestly, I think the biggest thing that's been flying through my life right now is just realizing like the value of hard work. You know, you see these people in your life who have kind of achieved certain things, and it is because of hard work. But for so long, I just attribute their success to that's just who they are, not realizing that hard work is something that you have to apply every day. And it's the thing where you go, I can't be bothered cleaning up the kitchen or doing that before I go to bed, or I can't be bothered like finishing the session even though I thought I would today. It's at every one of those opportunities going, okay, what's the choice I have to make now? Is being lazy and having to deal with it tomorrow, or just sacking up and just getting in there and just doing it even though I don't want to? So I definitely have kind of like refreshed my perspective on hard work, and man, it's like reflected in my shooting. And I think for me, like I just want to really just get so good at photography next year. Like I feel like I coasted for a couple of years and I became kind of a bit stagnant, and well, not stagnant, but I was just doing what was expected and nothing new. And my friends Tim and Nadine, honestly, I have to say, like those guys are super great friends and the most inspiring photographers to me right now. Like their work is just insane, and I feel like they don't share enough of it, because like every time I see a slideshow that they do from a wedding, I'm like, how do you do that in one day, in one wedding? Like all these incredible photos. So they have been I've become super close with those guys in the past couple of years, and just having that relationship where I absolutely admire what they do. But Tim has this really great attitude. We pretty much spend 24 hours a day on the phone together, me and Tim, and like a non-stop VoIP call. And yeah, pretty much like his attitude is that like anyone can do anything. And it kind of reminds me, like I've realized this over the years, is that anyone that you see who's inspirational is also a human. They grew up as a kid. They weren't born with all the skills they have. And so when you realize that these people that we treat as superhuman and heroes, like they are still also a human. So Tim's attitude is like, nah, dude, you can have tones like that. You can shoot like that. Like it's not like they've got a special joint that allows them to get that composition with the 35 mil. So I've just become really focused on, so this year has been kind of like getting all my stuff sorted, like my business, my numbers, understanding it, like being like completely, you know, not shying away from any details of running the business very well and very good. And same with my personal life, you know, getting into fitness, eating healthier, being more structured with my lifestyle. And I think next year for me, and what has kind of been happening this year is, and this season is, I'm like, man, I'm just trying to shoot the heck out of it and do the best job I can. Like I shot last weekend 2 weddings, and I shot 14,000 frames total at those weddings, and like that's huge for me. And I think like there's absolutely a correlation for me when I see the greatest photographers in the world. It always seems to be a correlation. The more you shoot, it's just like panning for gold. Like the more volume, the better the creme de la creme it is. And I have been putting real effort into upping particularly my documentary shooting, because portraits I'm pretty confident in, and those are the hero shots that always work well. But I've just realized, man, like there's another 10 hours on the day that you have to push the limits creatively. And just being friends with Tim and Nadine and following their work and admiring their work, I'm just like, come on, Johnny, you've got to channel my inner Tim and Nadine. So that's what I've been going for, and the results I've definitely seen like my work come to another level, and that's been really satisfying. So I think for 2020 it's a bit more of that probably, and also like I feel like 25 feels like a bit of a halfway point on the 20s, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, down the other end of that scale of probably going to have kids and weddings and all that kind of stuff, and have mortgages and all that fun stuff. So I'm like, damn, this is when you start to think of there being a sort of time limit on this freedom I have right now. I'm like, there are so many projects, particularly like video stuff I want to create and silly stuff I want to do, that I've been so occupied with the weddings work and the business for a while, but I don't want to let those dreams die. And I know that they're a lot easier to do right now than when I've got a mortgage and kids and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully next year is the year that I start doing a lot of the ideas and the things that I've had just in the back of my mind. Hopefully I'll start actioning a bunch of those, and yeah.
That's exciting, man. I'm excited to see what comes.
That's 2020 for me.
Cool, man. Okay, so to finish us off before we go, we've kind of talked about it a bit, but I'd love to just sort of finish up on basically, for anyone listening who is, especially the like videographers but photographers as well, whose every kind of shot and the way they represent weddings is always very like romantic and dark and moody and cinematic, and it's always that kind of note. I guess I want to finish the conversation on the concept of fun itself, and why capturing fun is an important part of capturing like basically any wedding.
Well, I think like I might be a bit biased on this as like Captain Fun, but I genuinely do think that like you look through humans and the human experience. And I feel like always at the core is like the desire to have fun. And I think that is reflected in different ways through different nuances and different contexts. But I really do think that like fun is what we're all going for. Even if fun is like, I don't know, like owning a property empire and you know, driving a cool car that's a weird metaphor, but like, you know, people who are very just all about the numbers and business and that, you know, they seem so business oriented, but absolutely, and that for them is fun. And I think it's, and you think about what we really treasure in life and what we look back on it, it's like the fun. And as much as like, this sounds like I'll be calling people out, but I'm not. Like certain people kind of present themselves as, you know, very cool and too cool and all this kind of stuff. And I think that at the end of the day, like despite how anyone presents themselves, and I think we all really do just want to have fun, like fun with our friends, and that can just look different for different people. But yeah, and obviously a wedding day obviously is like, again, supposed to be the best day of people's lives. And what does it come down to? I think for a lot of people, they want to have fun, and fun doesn't have to be cheesy. Fun doesn't have to be explosive, extroverted and colorful. It can just be whatever is fun for that person. But I think tapping into the fun that your couples want to have and trying to create photos that capture and reflect that, like, I don't know, like I think that it's hard for me to be outside of my brain, but any photos of my girlfriend and myself like together, it's just like, I mean, obviously I love having fun, but just those moments where like, there's just like pure unadulterated joy that has been caught like in a moment, that is so precious to me, because that's like what I hold on to. And I'm sure it's the same with having kids and families and friends. Like you think of people that you've lost, whatever, like you just think back to those memories when you're having a good time together and having fun. And so I think that sometimes the danger, and it can go both ways, but if you're trying to create a very consistent aesthetic that is almost to honor what you want to create rather than what the couple might want, I think that can be a bit harmful. And I think for me, I'm always trying to create the work that is going to be the most valuable for the couple. And so I think when you do, like, I mean, Ollie Sansom is like absolute legend, that guy, and he like kind of defined dark, moody wedding photography. But man, you look through his work, man, he captures so much brilliant, strange, hilarious, random, fun like antics, and he does it in such a great way. So it's not that you can't have a dark, moody aesthetic and not reflect that kind of that type of work. So yeah, I just think that like maybe we can all this is fun advocate for fun weddings 2020, Jonathan Suckling here. But yeah, I just think that, you know, I'd encourage everyone to just, I mean, it's what I do every weekend is, you know, go into the day with an open mind, not with what you want to create necessarily, but really to respond to what's in front of you and how you can do the best job of capturing that and creating value for your couples. So yeah. Wicked, man. Yeah. Well said. Now I think that's an awesome place to finish off. Cool. Thank you so much for coming along, man. No worries, man. Yeah, it was nice to finally meet you. Yeah, I was just like being like that creepy stalker online. It's just like, I know this guy. It's so funny, and especially with Facebook, like knowing first and last names. Like, oh, Jonathan's like a mid-journey man. Nice to meet you. Yeah. But so it has been cool to meet you, man, for sure. And it's nothing like launching into an hour-long podcast conversation to get to know each other. Totally, for sure, man. Wicked, cool. Well, thank you all for watching or listening, depending on how you choose to consume the podcast. I will have all of Jonathan's links and work and everything all below. I'm sure you guys already know it already, but until next time, we'll see you guys later. Cool. Peace. We didn't even coordinate that. That was magical. Yeah.